Good evening, race fans, and welcome to iRacing's MPI Challenge live this evening for the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina. So excited to have you all joining us this evening on the iRacing channels. I'm James Pike. He's Ryan Vargas. And Ryan, we've got a fun little sort of event of its own, an event separate from everything else, but prizes from MPI on the line, a lot of good racing on the line as well tonight.
Absolutely. Great racing. We have the ARCA cars at Charlotte, one of the best combos on the service. And everybody's, there's no points, there's no season-long championship, just bragging rights and a whole lot of cool prizes.
A lot of cool prizes, a lot of great racing. I'll back you up about that point with the ARCA cars in Charlotte. It's one of the best combos you're going to find on any oval since the ARCA cars made it to the service last March. I think we're in for a lot of fun at one of the best mile and a halves in all of iRacing. So you mentioned that this is a bit of a special event on its own. Well, what does the MPI Challenge entail? This is what it entails. For those of you curious, there was a time attack that was open to everyone on the service from February 5th to the 19th, and the top 20 eligible drivers with the fastest times are racing in tonight's event. And the margin between first and 20th, those that qualified, 4 hundredths of a second, Ryan. That is T-I-G-H-T, tight.
Yes, that is tight, and these prizes are certainly really awesome. First place gets an MPI custom trophy with a $200 MPI gift card with $100 iRacing credits. Second place, a $100 MPI card and $50 worth of iRacing credits and an MPI t-shirt and hat. Third place, $50 MPI gift card, $25 worth of iRacing credits, and a nice MPI t-shirts for their effort.
So prizes, gift cards, swag for everybody to go after this evening. 3 drivers are going to walk away with those prize packs. And we have a program that we are going to run through this evening. How are we going to get there? These drivers will have one time lap to determine the grid for our 2 sprint races, which will feature half the field each. So 2 races, 10 drivers, 15 laps apiece. They'll set the inside and the outside row for our feature race, which will feature all 20 drivers for 25 laps. So not a lot of time, Ryan, to make your move. If you're going to get going, you need to move.
Absolutely. Not a lot of time. The sprints are short, and the main, truthfully, isn't that long either. So not a lot of time to make your roundups. If you're behind, you got to go, go, go.
You absolutely have to make sure you move if you want a shot at getting some prizes from MPI. Now, we are very fortunate here at iRacing to be joined by the founder of MPI, one of the most charismatic people in all of racing. Max Pappas himself has joined us. Max, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure to be here with you.
So, Max, we've been saying MPI these first few minutes, but for those who are unfamiliar and uninitiated, what is MPI? What do you do?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you. It's this is basically the business card of MPI into the world of sim. MPI, it's a steering wheel company. We are the motorsport market leader in America. We started in 2009, and through 15 years of hard work, we are recognized all around the world. We create amazing steering wheel in our factory in Italy, quick releases that you see in IndyCar. But I'm actually not here bragging about the business, but I'm here more talking about the importance of what we are doing, and what we're doing with sim racing. I learned about it a few years ago. I always loved sim. I'm not really good at it, but I still like it tremendously. And what I wanted to do with MPI is give the authenticity of what we do and make it into sim products. So this is our business card. We're going to do a lot more of these events, and thanks to iRacing and everyone, it's a great opportunity.
And Max, it's a pleasure to have you on the show here tonight. I personally have a couple of your wheels, so I'm a fan of the product. But look, you've coached drivers like William Byron in the past, and you've seen guys like him make that transition from sim into real life. What is something that you see in some of these sim drivers and how they transition into real life racing?
The William Byron is the proof. A guy that raced only online until he was about 15 years old to become one of the best in the business. The muscle memory, the mental training that iRacing and sim racing gives you is actually higher. than a proper car. No mistake allowed. So it's one of the most challenging environment mentally that you could actually put yourself in, and not making a mistake, being inch precise with your car. It's extremely difficult, and obviously God gift is what makes a race car driver be different than everyone else, but you can definitely find out very quickly where your level of God gift is, from sim racing.
Max, you mentioned that this is the business card for MPI to enter the sim racing space. You have the SimMax line over at MPI. So for those who want to learn a little bit more about what you make, what offerings do you have in that SimMax line, and what can you offer to those who are interested in sim racing that might want to use your products?
Thank you for the question. As we just launched, and we had a lot of success, with Dale Jr. line that we replicated his own stock car steering wheel, and our product basically fit the Logitech, Fanatec, Azatec, and you will see and hear more, and SimMagic, obviously. You will hear and see more from us at the Sim Show in Charlotte in May. So if you guys come over there, I will have a lot more. But our goal is we are the supercar steering wheel provider in Australia, exclusive. We have the Mazda contract. I want to be able to give all my people, all my friends online, the same experience that you have on the real car. We have the real steering wheel. We have the real accessories. We're making it into the sim racing world, so you can actually have the same grip, the same feeling, and the authenticity of what it feels when I'm behind the wheel, and you can feel it the same.
I have to believe, with as much as I've heard people talking about MPI products, we're only going to see more MPI steering wheels infiltrate the market and become maybe the wheel of choice for a lot of these drivers. Max, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing what MPI can offer to all these drivers tonight.
Yeah, let me tell you, I want to send out a message to all the sim racers and to iRacing as well. What you guys have been doing is keeping the dream alive. The same dream that I had when I was 14 years old. We can do that. You can experience the love, the passion, everything that drove me to get where I am with my racing, and do it online in an inexpensive way, in an affordable way. So I want to personally deeply thank iRacing and everyone involved. I know the effort that they put together, to get where they are, and allows a lot of people to dream like I was. So thank you very much, and looking forward to spend more time with you guys in the next 3, 4, 5 months.
And on behalf of the iRacing team, we send our thanks right back to Max Pappas and everybody at MPI for their efforts in the sim racing world. It makes a great point about the accessibility of things, Ryan, and we're going to have a lot of drivers who are going to take advantage of the platform that Max just mentioned to get after it here at Charlotte tonight.
Well, you mentioned it. We mentioned it earlier. Max is offering up a couple MPI gift cards to the top 3 finishers. So really exciting prizes up on the line there, James, and a lot of action up ahead.
A lot of action up ahead here. Just about set to get going with qualifying, and we are going to actually move right into our starting grid for sprint race. A lot of names that you've known here, a lot of matches you've seen. Tucker Minter and Caleb Johnson going to start on the front row for this first sprint race. Ethan O'Connor and Charlie Hunter rolling off third and fourth. That third row you'll find Austin Missler and Demos Daniel Mostello.
Absolutely, and we head into row number 4 here. As we head into row number 4 here, we got Cameron Chandler, Alexander White to his outside. We got James Bomar to the inside in 9th, and then rolling off in 10th, we got Ryan Arnold.
So 10 drivers here. A lot of names that I've seen just paying attention to the community that race in independent leagues, that race in a lot of officials on the Sims. So, maybe names that you haven't necessarily seen on a Coke Series broadcast, save for Tucker Minter, obviously, Ryan. But that's not to say that there's not a lot of talent in this field as we take a look at tonight's MPI weather conditions at Charlotte.
Absolutely. I mean, you look up and down this grid, you have Demos, who's really one of those a really fast driver every single time I see him on the sim. James Bomar in 9th, but we're taking a look at the weather here. Temperature in the 70s, high 70s, 79 degrees. 5-mile-per-hour winds, so that's not really going to come into effect. And track temp, a blistering 109, and that's only going to get hotter, James, as this race progresses.
It is indeed. It's the default day in sim for iRacing. It's May 15, 2026. We're running right around 1 p.m. local time in sim, so you get a lot of the heat from the sort of mid to late spring sun of Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we know that this track under these sort of sun conditions, I think in particular of the Spring O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race here, Ryan, the track always heats up, it always gets slick, so these drivers are going to have to manage, I would think, loose race cars throughout tonight.
Well, loose race cars and a bumpy racetrack. As this track has aged and as iRacing continues to update their service with laser scan tracks, this place is so realistic to the real deal. As someone who's raced here a couple times, it is so bumpy. So managing the bumps and keeping those tires underneath you is going to be key.
The bump out of turn 4, right? That's the big one, yeah? Everybody knows where the tunnel is, and the driver's about to go over it, right? Ballpark right about now. You can kind of see it on your camera shots as the pace car makes the hard left-hand turn onto pit lane, and Tucker Minter will lead the field to green for our first 15-lap sprint race to set the inside row for the feature. Minter gets a good jump there. Ethan O'Connor making a move. Caleb Johnson, first car on the outside, and still double file. They'll go off into one as Minter leads the pack.
And we're seeing the top line already. He really pressuring the inside there. These ARCA cars, they are so aero dependent, and putting the inside of your car right on the door of that car on the inside of you, it's going to be really key to pulling that car back and making sure that you keep them at a disadvantage.
I think there are two truths about this ARCA car in particular that are worth noting. One, it's aero dependent. Two, is we see almost contact coming out of turn 4 there. Two, these cars, much like I think the vehicles of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, they're very momentum dependent too, because you're running in a similar RPM range between the two kinds of vehicles. So if you can get a good run off the top side, you can pinch somebody down on corner exit and either maintain your place or potentially gain a spot on somebody.
Well, and we talk about that, how big the momentum is. With these two guys riding side by side here, O'Connor and Johnson, they're holding the train up and just letting Tucker Minter scoot into the sunset here. James, I mean, you watch it here. Tucker Minter has already pulled out to a 0.2 of a second gap. That's not a lot, right? But with how much on throttle time you're seeing here as we go right on board with Tucker Minter, he's got the lean going right there, but he's just scooting away as these two continue to side draft each other.
He will not complain one bit about the fact that these two are still fighting for it. Johnson finally, though, with a big drive off into the corner to clear Ethan O'Connor. So O'Connor will go back to third. Austin Missler now to his outside, and we're starting to see that outside lane get some runs. I figured it probably wasn't going to come in for a few laps, but once we got a handful of laps into this, here we are, already working lap 4, and that outside lane starting to show its prowess as Missler clears O'Connor for third.
Absolutely, and Caleb Johnson's already starting to reel in Tucker Minter, and you know, we talk about how they were racing side by side and that allowed Minter to go up front, but don't be mistaken though, Tucker Minter is a pro at this. He is one of our eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series championship drivers, so for Johnson to be reeling in a driver of that caliber in this race is uber impressive.
And one of the drivers that might have the most willpower of anybody in the Coke Series. One of my favorite stories of Tucker Minter all time, he watched the championship 4 in 2022 as a rookie. And I remember him looking at me and at a lot of other people in the NASCAR Hall of Fame that night and saying, next year, I want to be here racing in it. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened when we got to 2023. So Tucker Minter, no slouch. When he puts his mind to something, he's usually pretty quick in one of these cars.
Absolutely, and biggest mover so far, Demos here, up into the third spot here. He's jumped all the way up from 6th. So he's going to be one of those guys, like I mentioned, he's really speedy. We have a battle for the lead here, side by side.
And now Caleb Johnson has found his way to the rear deck lid of Tucker Minter, and Demos has joined the party through Daniel Mosteller. I figured at some point he was going to make his presence known as Johnson's going to tuck in behind Minter. Mosteller's going to try and get the run on the outside. The trick, though, I think coming out of turn 4, we know how much turn 4 at Charlotte funnels. It gets really, really narrow on corner exit, so these drivers have to be careful. There's a contact there between Missler and Johnson. They almost set themselves spinning on the entry to 1, but you have to be careful about how you make sure you get out of 4 and you don't clip the fence, you don't run into someone.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and this is tight racing all throughout the field. I mean, everybody effectively is under a blanket. First through last, 10th, are all within a second of each other. So there's no room for error here. We talk about the momentum, how big carrying that speed through the corner onto the straightaways are. Moments like that when you're making contact, that's just only going to set yourself up for failure.
And push yourself further back in the pack and make your job harder when we get to the feature race, because remember, with each spot you lose in these races, you're losing 2 spots on the starting grid. You're losing a whole row on the starting grid. So it makes mistakes like that, I would say, even more costly, because you lose the track position and then you have to make all that up in the span of 20 laps as we go on board with Austin Missler.
Absolutely, and this is the beauty right here of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Drivers all around the track, running multiple different lines. You see guys wrapping, getting the white line down at the bottom. Some guys run in the middle, and others wall running as we have a car around in the back. It's number 3 of White.
So Alexander White and Charlie Hunter get into it with one another, and they are 9th and 10th. No yellow here. Drivers able to get their cars going once again, so they will need big help to avoid starting at the back of the pack in the feature race. As it stands, Minter and Mosteller and Missler, so 3M last names, pacing this field. Maybe fitting in an MPI event that sort of played out that way, right, Ryan?
Oh, you just had to get the tagline in there, right, James? But, you know, that right there is the absolute worst thing that you could have happen, as we see some real tight racing at turn number 4. I thought the 14 was going to get into Missler there. Really nice racing. We get a replay on the bottom of your screen here. We're going to see what happens here. It looks like the 15 of O'Connor just committed to the middle, while the 3 thought he was going to have room. I mean, look, it's one of those situations, 2 cars going for the same spot. You know, as the driver on the outside, you're at the mercy of that car on your inside, and when the car kind of commits to the lane that you didn't anticipate, you're going to go around.
I think the simple answer to that, Ryan, is that they both tried to commit to the middle, and there's only room for 1 car in one lane, not 2 cars in one lane. So Hunter and White make contact. They slide to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Tucker Minter still in control of this with 5 laps to go. He and Demos have separated themselves from Missler and Johnson by about a car length, and then from Johnson in 4th to Arnold in 5th, it's 4/10 of a second, maybe 3 or 4 car lengths. So battle for 1st, battle for 3rd, and then battle for, call it, 5th on back.
Yeah, we see some side-by-side racing here. Remember, every spot here is a position on the grid gained. So everyone's fighting really, really hard to get that track position, because they know that main event, it's not a long race. We talked about it. It's 20-25 laps. So if you get that track position now, it's going to pay real dividends in the main.
I think especially because with as short as the main is, if you don't have good track position to start with, you are going to have to burn your tires down to get track position. And it's possible to do that at Charlotte. You can certainly make moves on the high line and gain track position, but if your tires are that much more worn out compared to everybody else, it becomes very difficult to hold that. We saw that a lot in the eNASCAR College iRacing series back here in September. I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody try and pull that this evening.
Absolutely, and we see the side-by-side battle for second here, but what I'm looking at is Demos right here up in second. He was following Tucker Minter. He had the nose peeked out to the inside, just a smidgen, but then Tucker Minter closed the door. Right there, he opens the bottom, runs the middle. Demos runs the bottom, keeping the air on the nose and getting that car to rotate, as we see side-by-side tight racing. Almost contact, but they keep it clean.
Look at how close Austin Missler and Caleb Johnson almost got on the exit of turn 2. We're on board with Missler. He's got most of his car ahead of Caleb Johnson. Johnson working to the inside, but again, that outside line gets such a good run on the exits of turn 2 and turn 4 that it's hard to make it work on the bottom unless you really drive it in and send it deep, and that's what Johnson tried to do. But again, Missler with that good run middle of the corner, even though Johnson's going to nose ahead on the exit, he'll get that run down the back straightaway with Missler, and he'll be able to draw even and then make the pass once again.
Absolutely. As we're working the final lap here, Missler's trying to get himself into the podium spot here for the heat race here, but that's a tight battle for the lead. James, bring him home.
Tucker Minter will win our first sprint race. Daniel Mosteller second, and at the line, Caleb Johnson was able to eke it out. No, he wasn't. Austin Missler by, of course, 1/1000th of a second. True to form here at Charlotte, Ryan. No shockers there, right?
Yeah, no shockers there. As we take a look at the results from sprint race number 1, Tucker Minter, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Championship Series driver, leading the way here with Demos hot on his heels. And then we see that battle for third right there. Real tight battle there. And then as you look through the rest of your lineup here, you look at the back there, Charlie Hunter, Alexander White, both those guys involved in incidents having a tough go of it.
And I think that underscores the importance of just keeping your nose clean for everybody in this second sprint race that's about to come up, because White and company, Tronter and White, they had good cars. They were running top 5 in this, and then they get into it with one another. They don't get the yellow, and then they're buried in the back, and now they're going to have work in our feature later.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of work to do, but you know what? At least they have the knowledge that they have the speed, they have the competitiveness, and they're going to be able to go out there and put on the hunt.
As we look at the grid for our second sprint race, a name familiar to many in the iRacing community, Justin Yee will start on pole alongside Oliver Cordell. AJ Hyder, competitor in the College Series, and Jaden Hopp will roll off from 3rd and 4th on the grid. Matt Kemp and Jonathan Millis will start in 5th and 6th in this second sprint race.
Then we got Braden Hunsicker on the inside of row number 4, Elliot Kandra on the outside of row number 4, and the last car in line here, Gavin Rupchan, a popular streamer online. So lots of familiar names in here. You got the Arca Farmer on the pole, and you got another streamer on the back.
The Arca Farmer, Justin Yee. I did not think that was going to be a nickname that landed on this show. But Ryan, for those unfamiliar, care to explain?
Yes. Absolutely. So Justin Yee, he's popular on YouTube. He has an incredible YouTube channel where he coaches a lot of drivers, goes in depth on some of the latest happenings in the sim racing community. And Justin is a known fan of the Arca car. Let's just put it that way. And I think he has a shirt that even says in the Arca Menard series font that says Arca Farmer. So really good content there. Cool to see him out here being competitive.
Really easy to fall in love with the cars in these series as we take a look at our MPI track analysis for the second sprint race. This a mile and a half, a little bit longer, 2.41 kilometers in length, 24 degrees of banking in the turns, 5 degrees of banking on the straightaways. It is free content with any iRacing subscription. The moment you log into the sim for the first time, you have access to Charlotte Motor Speedway. It opened in real life in 1960. This is a place that there are two things that stand out immediately to me. One, the radii of turns 1 and 2 is larger than it is over in 3 and 4. And 2, just about everybody's iRacing career on an oval starts here in Charlotte in the street stocks, and I feel like everybody, Ryan, has good memories of that in some way, shape, or form. You remember Rookie Street Stocks once upon a time, don't you?
Oh, man, I remember Rookie Street Stocks, and I remember putting a lot of hosted races in the Street Stocks here at Charlotte, but we're getting ready to start sprint race number 2 here. 10 drivers once again, well, 9 to start this feature, and we're going to have 15 laps like we did in sprint number 1, and this is going to set the outside row, so every position here picks you up one more row on the outside lane.
Again, one spot is worth 2 on the grid. That's why track position matters so much, even in these sprint races, because you're going to have less work. You're going to be able to make your life a little bit easier. You can focus more on just trying to get those last few spots and how you're going to beat somebody like a Tucker Minter or a Justin Yee. As this second sprint race gets ready to roll off. Pace car there in the middle of 3 and 4, about to go over that bump that we talked about earlier, the most pronounced bump on the racetrack here. The tunnel coming into turns 3 and 4 sits right underneath the track, right at about this point. That's why the bump is so significant there. And it's something that these drivers will have to tackle. As the pace car pulls off, Barty will unfurl the green flag, and we will get going with sprint race number 2 in the MPI Challenge. And Justin Yee gets us going here in Charlotte. Cordell still hanging on the outside. Hyder with a good run behind that inside line initially, Ryan, with some pretty good power here coming up through the gears.
Absolutely. Everybody doing a really good job staying formed up on the inside lane. Another guy that I have my eyeballs on here is Matt Kemp in that 13 car. He's a real-life racer. He races in the Arca Menard series part-time, so he's one of those drivers who has a little bit of experience in this platform, so cool to see him out here competing and looking to go 3, maybe 4 wide on the bottom of the exit of 4.
They thought about 3 wide in the front. They are going 3 wide further back, and you've got half this field absolutely packed in like sardines going into turn 1. Oliver Cordell has managed to get away. Justin Yee getting tight under everybody in the middle of the corner, had to check up, and Jaden Hopp, I think, caught the fence and maybe, just maybe, made a little bit of contact with Braden Hunsicker.
Yeah, and Justin Yee stuck in the middle here, falling like a rock. He's gone from the front row all the way to the mid-pack as he gets into the 12, and the 12 hits the wall.
AJ Hyder and Jonathan Mills make contact at the back of the field. That will string this group out just a bit. Cordell clear by, call it, 0.3 of a second as Jaden Hopp working the bottom, trying to get around Hunsicker and take second outright.
And Jaden Hopp, they're one of those drivers that's actually currently competing in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing qualifying series races. I believe they were in split number 2, but always at the front. So a lot of experience within these races here. We saw Tucker Minter in heat race number 1, in race number 2, Jaden Hopp.
Here is DJ EJ himself, Justin Yee, rolling into turn 1, currently in the 5th spot, trying to figure out whether or not it might be better to get the momentum up high. I think he noticed that just off of his qualifying spot. He started on that inside lane. He's moved up to the high side, and look at him with the run out of turn 2.
Absolutely big run, lots of momentum. He opts to kind of stay in line, though. You heard him blip the throttle going down the backstretch there. Comes out to the middle lane, tries to keep the momentum, but honestly, I'm just kind of surprised by that. He had the run. He could have dove it to the inside, especially with how short this race is, but maybe trying to play a little bit of a long game here. Who knows?
Well, let's sort of think about that a little bit, Ryan. If that's the case, and you have the driver brand, you've done this a little bit, you've raced the vehicles in the ARCA Car Series. If you're not taking a run like that, why would you choose not to?
The biggest thing that I could think of right now is, and I'm going to harken back to a little bit of my experience on the sim, racing in the Sunoco All-Star race last year, prior to the Coke race at Texas, as we see some contact with the turn 4 wall. I believe that was Justin Yee once again. But these cars, they love that momentum, as we talked about. Being on that outside lane, he probably didn't want to put himself in that vulnerable position of being on that inside, as we see some battles for the lead. That's the 10 of Hunsaker trying to make a challenge, and Matt Kemp's going to make it 3 wide in the middle.
3 wide for the race lead, and Matt Kemp just split the middle and drove right past all of them to clear Cordell and Hunsaker. But Cordell, with that great run on the outside, going to take the lead back at the start-finish line, and the gap as they cross start and finish. How about 6/100ths of a second?
And what a move by Matt Kemp there. I mean, I know he didn't get the lead at the end of that, but man, he put himself right in position here. And now he's got to try and build that run, build that momentum so that he can go and make the pass here. As we ride on board with Kemp, he's going to get a little bit of a push from Hunsaker, and he's going to just line wrap right here. Just ride in line and try and feel out Cordell and see what he can get.
Hunsaker, though, got tight on the exit of the corner. That allows Justin Yee to get past. I think Hunsaker had to let off the throttle, and that's 2 spots that he lost, because Jaden Hopp was able to clear Hunsaker as well. So Cordell, Kemp, Yee now up to 3rd, Hopp to 4th, Hyder up to 5th. Hunsaker dropping like a rock here halfway through our sprint race.
And one thing I'm seeing is, as I'm also going to mention this, producer caught this, but look at that seat. That's a real nice seat that he's got there, nice and cozy. But as we watch this battle here, I noticed that a lot of these guys are really starting to fight that tightness in the center. They're really having to hammer the throttle, trying to blip out of it to unhook that locker and get this thing to rotate. You hear it right there. Matt Kemp gets a really good cut down through the bottom, whereas everyone else isn't rotating. That's going to be what helps Matt Kemp set up passes like this as he looks to the inside for the lead.
You know, Ryan, you know what I think would pair well with that seat that Matt Kemp has, since that seat's so realistic? You know what would work with that well? I bet an MPI steering wheel for his rig would work really well with that seat, too, as they bounce off the fence there. Coming out of turn 4, that was Cordell who got it. So Kemp and Yee now up to 1st and 2nd, and Cordell, who has paced most of this race so far, all the way back to 4th, though on the outside, should have a good run out of the corner.
Oh, and that's the I guess you could say the disadvantage of being the leader and playing defense all the time. We saw Cordell run the top, being really defensive, pushing as hard as he can as he pounds the wall once again. He's kind of stuck in the wall there, and he's going to continue to drop like a rock. I guarantee you that, and he's got a wreck. The 20 of Kandra clears himself, and that's going to effectively take them both out of the running there as we stay green. Remember, no yellows in these sprint races.
You know who loves that? Jonathan Millis, who got caught up in the early incident over in turn 4. Now he's got some people to battle with. There's an opportunity to potentially gain some track position as Kemp, Yee, and Hopp, 1, 2, 3, Hunsaker 4th. A little bit of a gap back to AJ Hyder, and then you really start seeing these drivers go backwards. We'll go on board with Hunsaker.
And now as we see this race start to play out more, I know it's a short race, only 15 laps, but you see the common faces coming back up to the front. You have Justin Yee. He qualified up front, fell to the back, but he knows how to drive these cars. He knows these things like the back of his hand, and he's continuing to keep those tires underneath him. I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Yee picks up another spot or maybe even challenges for the win.
You know what I think is interesting about this sprint race in comparison to the last one? I feel like tire wear across the board was managed more evenly by the drivers in the first sprint race. The second sprint race, we've seen more comers and goers, and I wonder if these drivers will sort of file away some notes and maybe take note of the fact that you might not be able to burn off tires the way you think you could.
Absolutely, and Jaden Hopp getting all over the rear bumper of Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp is kind of just trying to run out of the rear views. We got a nice little drone shot right here, chasing down this group here. The top four under a blanket. It's going to be interesting to see what these guys do as we come to 2 to go.
Fabulous work by our Cayman team at iRacing to show you in real time what the gap looks like, especially from Hunsicker's perspective. He's done a nice job to hang on to the gap. Here comes Hop, looking at the inside of Kemp for the race lead. Yi checks up on quarter entry and is going to try and paint that blue and white line down on the inside to get a run coming down the back straightaway. Maybe try and get alongside Jaden Hop, but as it stands, Kemp's still clear by about half a car length.
And that was beautifully executed by Matt Kemp there. He knew that he was getting a pass set up on him by the inside, so he just let him have it. He just let Jaden have the inside. He said, I know I'm going to have the exit, so you go ahead and take the entry, but I'm going to have the mow as we take the white flag.
How deep is Jaden Hop going to send it into the corner? Deep enough to try and make the clear. He slides up the racetrack and pulls the slider on Kemp. So Hop there, and that sends Kemp into the fence. Kemp got caught watching Hop on corner exit, and that opens up an opportunity for Justin Yi to go to the bottom.
Justin Yi's going to dive to the inside. He's going to be a little bit sideways on the inside of Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp is going to try and pinch off for all he's got. But it's going to be Jaden Hop coming off of turn number 4, getting the win in sprint number 2 in the MPI Challenge.
Jaden Hop, last lap pass, big time send to beat Matt Kemp and Justin Yi. And I think that's sort of the way you're going to have to get it done. If you're going to make a pass like that, you just have to commit and then slide up the racetrack and plant your rear bumper in front of somebody else. That's exactly what Jaden Hop did. That's why Jaden Hop will be starting on the front row for our feature.
Absolutely. As we take a look at your finishing results here, Oliver Cordell, what else can we say? He was up front a lot of that race, but as the tires wore, he fell further back in the pack, got collected in an incident that he had no business being in, and poor Gavin Robchan, I don't know what happened to him. 11 laps down, he's going to be taking this main event from the trunk here, James.
Bit of work to do, to say the least. So we've got a moment before we get going with our features, so let's remind everybody of how we got our 20 drivers and what is on the line in this feature race. We found out our field through a time attack that was open to all iRacing members from February 5th to the 19th. The top 20 eligible drivers entered tonight's fields, and it was a tight gap between 1st and 20th in that time attack. 4/100ths of a second the difference between 1st and 20th, and making it into tonight's MPI challenge.
Absolutely, and you see the prizes there. First place gets a custom MPI trophy, $200 MPI gift card, $100 worth of iRacing credits. Second, they get half of that, $100 MPI gift card, $50 iRacing credits, an MPI shirt and hat. Third place, half of that, $50 MPI gift card, $25 iRacing credits, and an MPI t-shirt for their time, and thank you for being here.
And guess what, Ryan? We've got one more prize.
Oh, I like that.
One more, right? So,
yeah.
Because in addition to all of the prizes that were just announced there and put on that screen, one driver who participated in the time of track was drawn that didn't qualify for the finale. So, watching from home, but drawn to win an MPI and iRacing swag bag that includes iRacing and MPI t-shirts, hats, lanyards, all that fun sort of good stuff, and $20 in iRacing credits. And Ronan Walsh is the winner. So congratulations, Ronan, for participating in the MPI Challenge Time Attack and picking up the swag bag. And all the more incentive, I think, Ryan, even if you don't necessarily think you have the speed, even if you don't feel like you're going to make it to the top 20, what does that say about just at least trying and putting your name in the hat? Because anything can happen, right?
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, going out there and just giving the effort, trying to make it into the field here as we're getting ready to take a look at the grid here, James. But seeing the drivers get rewarded like that, it's all the more special.
Very, very special indeed. So here's our grid for the feature race as we get set for 25 laps of racing. Your sprint race winners, Minter and Hop on the front row, then Demos and Matt Kemp starting third and fourth. Third row will be Austin Missler and DJ EJ Justin Yi.
Absolutely. We're going to take a look at row number 4. Caleb Johnson to the insider. Braden Hudsicker to the outside of row number 4. Cameron Chandler, row 5. AJ Hyder on the outside of row number 5. Row number 6 going to have Ryan Arnold and Oliver Cordell. We talked about him, one of the fast drivers all in that race, coming in from the mid-pack.
13th on the grid will be Ethan O'Connor. To his outside, and 14th, Jonathan Millis. James Bomar starts tonight from the 15th position. On the outside of row 8, it's Elliot Kandra. Charlie Hunter starts from the inside of row 9. 18th on the grid is Gavin Rapchen. And the final driver to start this 19-car field for the MPI Challenge feature is Alexander White, who got caught up in trouble in his sprint race and will have work in order to get to the front, but it is not impossible. So we've made it to the feature, the big show of the night. We also have cautions for this as well if things get a little bit wild, Ryan. So who knows what can happen.
Yeah, if I'm one of those drivers who had a bad race in the sprint, I'm at least going to sit here and be thankful that there are yellows in this main event, because if I'm starting at the back, I'm not going to lie to you, James. I'm probably going to shoot it through the field and be a little bit more daring with my moves.
How much are you going to push the issue if you're starting back there? How much do you want the track position early, or how much do you trust the drivers ahead of you to burn their tires up early and open up opportunities for you late?
Well, there's a lot of fast drivers coming from the back there, right? You have Gavin Robchin, Alexander White. Those guys, they showed a lot of speed, a lot of promise in those sprints. So if I'm those guys, honestly, I'm just going to send it. I'm just going to go straight through the pack. I don't care what kind of moves I have to make. It's 25 laps, and there's no points, just bragging rights and a whole lot of cool prizes.
We're just going to go for it, basically, is what I'm hearing at the end of the day, which makes perfect sense to me. So, Tucker Minter, Jaden Hopp to lead the field to green. You see Minter trying to build up a little bit of heat in these tires. We've got the ARCA cars at Charlotte Motor Speedway for 25 laps and prizes from iRacing and Max Pappas Innovations on the line. I have a feeling some of these drivers might be looking at an MPI steering wheel to add to their rig if they can plant it in the top 3 places as we get set to go. Pace car is off. Barney awaits. Green flag is out. We're underway with the feature race of the MPI Challenge, and immediately the outside gets a fabulous jump. Jaden Hopp with a great jump there on that initial start to clear Tucker Minter before they even get to turn 1.
Holy smokes, Jaden Hopp caught Tucker Minter sleeping on the inside lane as they clear for the top spot. But now, as you see right here, side by side all the way throughout the pack, as a lot of guys are getting out of shape.
A lot of people starting to figure out where they want to go, where they want to be 3 wide, a little bit further back there. That looks like Caleb Johnson sticking it to the inside to make a move, and does. Johnson now riding in the 6 spot, 4 wide there on the exit of the corner in turn 4. That doesn't work often. Tucker Minter, though, back to the inside of Hopp, trying to take the race lead.
And we're going to see Jaden Hopp here. They're going to put it in the middle lane, try and take a little bit of that air off of Minter. They're going to do a beautiful job of doing so. Minter's going to get tight on the inside, squeeze to the outside, but Jaden has a good run as there's... Oh, man, they're door banging off of turn number 4. Sorry, turn number 2.
Caleb Johnson went all the way to the apron. Contact, I believe, potentially Justin Yee, as there's trouble a little bit further back in this group. 2 cars in the fence and wrecking. It's Charlie Hunter and Elliot O'Connor who got caught up in proceedings. Elliot Condra also with damage out of that, too. So 3 drivers already towards the back of this. Jaden Hopp, Matt Kent, Tucker Minter, though, the top 3. Kent and Minter starting to fight for position, and Minter trapped on that inside lane.
Yeah, and that top lane is going to be where the moves are made. That's going to be where you're going to carry all of that momentum off the corners, and you're able to put that inside car in that vulnerable spot. If we see Tucker Minter drop all the way to 4th, a little bit of an uncharacteristic start for the experienced driver.
Tucker Minter riding in line here, top 4, all single file, as is Justin Yee. You have to go back to 6th and 7th to find the first battle on the racetrack. Caleb Johnson to the inside, Braden Huntsicker to the outside. Huntsicker again with that great run all for turn 2. Time and time again, you see it in Charlotte. If you can get a good run coming down the backstretch, you can clear somebody with ease.
Absolutely. And you're going to have Tucker Minter here as he rolls that middle lane, trying to catch a little bit of momentum on Demos. Not going to get it, but we're going to take a look at the replay here on the bottom of your screen. You got the 15 of O'Connor right there in the middle. Just gets duded, just gets hit from behind. Nowhere for those cars on the inside to go, and just it looks like Ropechan's just an innocent bystander in the middle of that. Nowhere to go. Tough situation.
You know, Ryan, I've heard of many descriptions. I've heard many words used to describe somebody getting wrecked, but duded is a new one. So
We're out here inventing new phrases here, James.
I guess. Is that something you learned in California and just decided to bring to the masses?
You know, you have the bump and rum and the doot and scoot, as we see a lot of dooting going on throughout the field here. A lot of guys leaning on each other, a lot of guys shoving each other out of the way, and that's what the beauty of this ARCA car is. You're really able to get your elbows out as we see some real tight racing for the third position.
Really, really tight stuff there, as these drivers will figure out whether or not they're going to bump and run or doot and scoot or boot scoot and boogie. With all respect and love to Brooks and Dunn here at Charlotte. How about 3 wide though for the race lead? Oh, contact at the front, and Jaden Hopp is going to get turned, and there's one car on its lid. It's the 14 machine of Caleb Johnson as we get the yellow out. Big accident right after the start-finish line on the front stretch that caught a whole host of competitors and contenders involved.
And Tucker Minter made an aggressive move to the outside through the quad oval there, and that is such a vulnerable spot to do it. I understand it. He had the momentum. He had the run, but Jaden Hopp just had no idea that he was there and just came right up the track and sparked this huge incident. It's a tough spot to be in, James. I don't envy either of them.
How much do you have to go for every position in a race this short? How much does it matter? And how many other drivers were caught up in this? We know about Hopp, we know about Minter, and then you had a fair amount of drivers that ended up involved in this after the fact. Johnson was the most dramatic of examples here, ended up upside down entering turn 1. I think he caught the rear deck lid of Hopp and just sort of ramped over it. Ryan Arnold also was sent spinning in this incident. Also was the 16 of Jonathan Millis. He caught some damage, I think just transitioning off of the banking as well. So lots of drivers here who are going to have to get their cars cleaned up in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. That was a huge incident going down the front stretch. It caught me by surprise. It's very rare that you see, I guess you could say, a disagreement in position like that, especially when you're up in the lead. So real tight racing there, but we saw it. There were several close calls, especially coming off of turn number 2.
Let's take a look at this again and see how this unfolded. And Ryan, you called it right. You see Tucker Minter, 7 car there trying to make a move to the outside of Jaden Hopp, and then it all breaks loose.
And Jaden was so focused on the car on their inside. As you see the, oh my goodness, the 14 goes up and over on their lid. Oh man, what a wild ride. You don't normally see incidents like that here. As we're going to go right on board here. You see all the chaos unfold. Jaden Hopp gets clear and just, oh man, clips the right rear of the 14 there, and kind of does a little bit of a classic weight shift incident there. So wild stuff here early in this 25-lap race.
Just absolutely launched poor Caleb Johnson right up into the air entering turn 1. And so now all those drivers are going to have to come down and get their cars serviced and fixed up. And the leaders will have the track position and maybe a bit of a breather as well. We'll see how long these drivers are stuck on pit road, how much they have to do to fix the damage on their cars. The weather conditions have changed a little bit. The big thing I noticed, Ryan, look at that track temp. We're up 10 degrees Fahrenheit from where we were when we started proceedings, and the in-sim time has only jumped up to about an hour.
Yeah. And one thing that we're getting word of here, and it's really important for the viewers at home to know, is there are no tire changes in this race. There's only one set of tires, so everybody who's coming in getting their damage repaired, you may think, oh, why did these guys stay out? It's a free yellow. Come down and get your tires. Only one set. So the set of tires that you started this race on is the set you're going to finish on.
So if you're coming down pit road, you're coming down pit road to fix the damage. The problem for Tucker Minter is that Tucker has a lot of it, a completely gone front end on his car. The question will be how much damage is required, how much is cosmetic, how much can you get away with, and how much are the rest of the cars in this field going to be hurt, especially now that the lights are off on the pace vehicle. So that's about as much damage as you're going to be able to fix up.
Well, and we talked about, you know, Jaden and Tucker a lot in the race and the races leading up to this, but this is definitely falling into the laps of the next 3 best drivers. You have Matt Kemp, Demos, and Justin Yee all about the front here.
If you want more information on how to start your iRacing career, you can log on to iRacing.com today to find out more information about how to get involved with what an impressive online motorsports simulation. We'll get set to rock and roll from Charlotte Motor Speedway. 10 laps in, 15 to go. So not a lot of time to get moving. I think the interesting thing here looking at this is that everybody from Ryan Arnold on up, and especially Arnold, Missler, and Bomar, they all got damage, but their cars look relatively clean, and it looked like they were able to get most of the cosmetic stuff fixed up on pit road. So I think once you get to Hop, that's about when I think you're going to see some speed follow. But realistically, I think there are 12 cars that could potentially have a shot to win this.
Yeah, we talk about those 3 up at the front, but really anybody in this race, if they time their run correctly, they could have a chance to fight for the win.
Kemp and Mosteller, your front row as we get back to racing on lap 11 of 25. Green flag is out once again. Inside line just took off. Matt Kemp with an incredible restart to clear everybody by a car length and then some. As Kemp will go to the front, Mosteller goes down to the inside. Justin Yee going to try and get a run on Braden Hunziker, but Hunziker's going to have that outside line, that preferred lane, exiting turn 2.
Yeah, Hunziker is in the prime spot right there to maintain that 3rd position. Justin Yee, he thought he had a chance to get clear, but as long as Hunziker had his left front on the right rear quarter panel of Justin Yee, Yee was just a sitting bystander there. And look at, you see right here, all the momentum lost, just dropping like a rocket. The 5 car of Chandler bounces off the wall, loses a couple spots.
And Cameron Chandler dropping to the 11th position, just about at the tail end of this lead pack. Matt Kemp ripping the bottom, everybody else behind, trying to figure out whether or not they want to be in the middle, whether or not they want to go up top. Lots of cars weaving around. On board now with Charlie Hunter, currently scored in the 8th position, pretty much dead center of this. And you can see not only the lanes that these drivers are running, but I think some of the thought processes as well.
Whoa. Oh man, as the 8 gets hip checked right there, that's Justin Bomar just getting absolutely shoved out of the way right there. Falls. We talk about momentum's almost like the bingo free space word of this broadcast, but oh man, as they check up on the further back there, squeeze 3 wide, Bomar just getting flung around like a ping pong ball, but nonetheless settles in further back in the pack, I believe in the 10th position.
So Matt Kemp still in control. Daniel Mosteller to second. Going to look a little bit further back here. This is Braden Hunziker and A.J. Hyder, the leaders now. All single file, at least for the moment. First side-by-side battle, Justin Yee and Charlie Hunter, who were just on board with a moment ago, as Yee has not found a lot of success on these starts and restarts on the inside, but once he gets a moment to go up to the high line, Justin Yee really starts to pick up speed. You start seeing him make his way towards the front.
Absolutely, and one driver I'm taking to keep my eye on right now is Oliver Cordell in the 1 car right there, trying to work the bottom lane as we ride back on board with Justin Yee. I love going on board with these drivers as they race. We see a little bit of a hip check there, but how close Justin sits to the wheel there. Some drivers, they lay back. They almost look like they're lounging, and then you have drivers like Justin, Tucker Mincher, who have that lead. We're up on the wheel and really getting after it. So fascinating stuff as Justin bounces off the wall. Not what you want to see.
Well, I think, okay, there's the lean in the corner a little bit. I hadn't necessarily seen Justin lean to the side when he's in the corners. I think the thing I noticed about his setup is that he's just all right in front of the screen trying to make it work. And he just got tight out of turn 4 that last time by, and that drops him back to the 8th position, potentially 9th position. Kemp's still in control of this, and no battles through the top 5 or top 6. We'll keep an eye on this battle pack here from 7th on.
And that tightness right there, James, is product of the aerodynamic model of these ARCA cars. And that's one of the most impressive things that iRacing has implemented into the service, because as someone who has raced these ARCA cars and still does race these ARCA cars, that aero tight that you get, that push off the corner behind a car, that is real. And that is an absolutely incredibly vulnerable spot to be in if you're Justin, stuck on that outside, and when a car washes up in front of you, dumps that wake on you, you're just a bystander at that point. You're just going to go straight for the wall.
Waiting to see when the top 5 will start making their move on Matt Kemp. In the meantime, Justin Yee trying to gain back some of that track position with a slider there on Alexander White. And he almost, I think he might have caught the fence actually, did Yee ever so slightly on the exit of turn 4. But Yee able to lock down that 6th position. I wonder at what expense to his tires, though. That, I think, is the question for somebody who's been running up in the middle at high grooves as much as he has.
Absolutely. Oh, and we got the 2 car of Demos, pounds the wall off of turn number 2. That's going to set Hunziker up for a move to the inside. Can't get it done. Will Demos have the run on the top, or is his car okay enough to hold on to it? It looks like it's going to for the time being, but that's really going to allow Matt Kemp to continue to scoot away and maintain his lead.
Although Demo's got a pretty good run there down the front straightaway, so an opportunity for him to gain a little bit of track position and maybe reeling Matt Kemp a little bit. Kemp still committed to that bottom line. He's giving up time, but he's saving his tires. So I think if you're Kemp, do you bleed this lead out a little bit more to make sure you've got tire to defend the lead with, compared to a Mosteller who may have to go to the middle or the high groove just to get back to your rear bumper?
Look, if I'm Matt Kemp at this point, if we're coming to 6 to go, it is all go, go, go. You're not worried about tires anymore. You're just worried about defending this position and making sure that that number 2 car stays in the rear mirror.
Defense on Demos, perhaps? Yeah?
Yeah, I would say that as we see Demos get a bit of a hip check off of turn number 2. Oliver Cordell lays the fender to him, and that obviously checks that inside lane up, and now that whole train of cars starts to rail around the top.
Well, Cordell just got tight underneath Demos, didn't have enough air on the nose, and slid up the racetrack and bounced off of Demos at the exit of turn 2. As we now approach 5 laps to go, as Ryan noted, Mosteller and Kemp pacing this group. AJ Hyder, we've not said Hyder's name all that much, but we're going to talk about somebody who's waited for the right time to make an appearance towards the pointy end of the field. This is as high as AJ Hyder has run all night long, currently in the 3rd spot and in position for surprises if he can hang on.
And AJ Hyder's one of your biggest movers. The biggest mover in this race is Alexander White, who started at the tail, but AJ Hyder up 7 positions since the start of this race and is currently, now as you see right there, gets a little bit of a challenge for that 3rd position, but nonetheless impressive run through the field to get in this spot. But Demos trying to set up a run on Matt Kemp, runs that middle lane, going to cut down, let Matt Kemp wash up, and now right here Demos is going to have a bit of a run down the back, but not going to be able to set up the pass, just trying to get himself ready for it.
Demos has a run, working that middle lane. The question is whether or not Kemp will cover and go back up to the high line if Demos gets enough momentum on corner exit. You see Cordell looking to the inside of AJ Hyder for the 3rd position. Demos now tucking right on the rear bumper of Matt Kemp, peeking to the inside for the race lead. Sends it underneath Matt Kemp with 3 laps to go, but he checks up in the middle of the corner to make sure that he can get a decent run out of it, which will mean that Kemp will hold on to the lead for now. But here comes AJ Hyder on the high line.
What an impressive run right there by Demos on the bottom there to maintain on the exit. Matt Kemp's going to try his best to put it on the right rear quarter panel, but it's not going to do it. Demos to the lead off of turn number 4. Matt Kemp now has to do everything he can to stay in the tire tracks of Demos and be able to fight in these final 2 laps.
All right, 2 laps to go. Demos to the point for the first time here in a little while. Matt Kemp's controlling a lot of this, but that car might be fading. AJ Hyder with a run to the inside. Got way loose, though, on the exit of turn 2. Had to check up and put it right behind Matt Kemp, so Kemp's going to have maybe 2 more opportunities to try and get Demos for the win in the MPI Challenge. They come out of turn 4, white flag, when they come back to the start-finish line.
Matt Kemp needs to run the top lane here. That is where all the momentum is, but right now he's going to make a big move to the inside. Side by side into turn number 1, Matt Kemp sends it on in. There isn't going to be a slide job. He goes to the middle, clears him, going into the middle of the corner, but Demos cuts back to the inside. Will he have the run?
He had a run. Did he have the run? Matt Kemp gave up the outside. They make contact down the middle of the back straightaway. Here comes AJ Hyder to the inside. They are 3 wide for the win. Out of turn 4, Demos up on the fence. Kemp can't hold the run. Can AJ Hyder get to the inside of Daniel Mosteller? No, he cannot. And Demos wins the MPI Challenge in the ARCA cars at Charlotte.
What a run by AJ Hyder right there. He took advantage of the 2 leaders getting stuck side by side, made the run, and lots of contact throughout the field, but Demos gets the job done and gets all the sweet prizes from MPI and iRacing here tonight.
What a job by Daniel Mosteller to make the pass early, and he ended up in a spot where he just had to defend late, and then ended up being a little bit easier because Kemp got a little bit wiggly and swirly on the back straightaway. That opened up the opportunity for Hyder to get to the inside, and then at that point, Kemp couldn't get a clean run on Demos. He was both trying to get the win and also trying to defend second place, and it's hard enough to race one of these drivers in a field this talented, much less 2 of them.
No, I mean, and Demos did just an excellent job playing that race smart. He knew that if he just bided his time, kept his tires cool, kept his tire wear down, he was going to be in the prime spot, and he took advantage of Matt Kemp just kind of burning his stuff off at the end of the day.
I was surprised that Matt Kemp couldn't make the middle lane work for him as well as Demos did. We saw Demos do that a lot in the second half of this race, and then Kemp went up there once Demos got to him to try and block, and it just seemed like that car wasn't the same. It's like he liked driving on the bottom more than he did in the middle, and when he had to play defense, it threw him off his rhythm a bit.
Yeah, as we take a look at the finishing results here, your top 10, lots of names throughout the field here. Justin Yee, what an up and down night for the ARCA farmer himself. I mean, coming back from the front of the field to the back, just to rebound and get a top 5. Great run for him. Oliver Cordell was in the mix all night. Hunziker, who fought at the front a lot of this race, gets a quiet P9. A very surprising run for him.
Austin Missler there, 10th in this feature race. Looking forward to seeing what Justin Yee puts out on YouTube here about this event, because you know there's going to be a YouTube video at some point, right?
Oh yeah, there's going to be a YouTube video. He's probably going to put a clip of me calling him an ARCA farmer, and that's okay. That's what we're all about here, is the content. Look at the rest of the field here. Jaden Hobb, Tucker Minter, the two, I would say arguably the two favorites to win this race here tonight, take themselves out early and effectively have themselves a poor result.
You know who was watching Jaden Hobb at the end of our feature race? It was Daniel Mosteller, because it was the exact same sort of move, that send into one and then slide up the racetrack, that got Mosteller in the lead, ultimately put him in victory lane, winner of the MPI Challenge. But there's more for second and third place in this. More for AJ Hyder, and more with Matt Kemp, who now joins Ryan Vargas as our third place finisher.
Matt Kemp, man, it's good to see you, buddy. I know you personally. I know how you race. You're an aggressive, hard-nosed racer. What did you need there to get the job done coming home just shy? Matt, you got us?
So we'll see if we can't work on Matt Kemp and see if we can't make sure that he is sorted and ready to go, as Kemp comes home with third in the MPI Challenge. So he's going away with the prize pack, Ryan Vargas. He's going to end up with an MPI shirt. He's ended up with some iRacing credits. He's going to get a gift card to MPI as well.
Absolutely. I mean, look, third place, you still get a $50 MPI card, $25 worth of iRacing credits, and an MPI t-shirt like you mentioned. So at the end of the day, getting that top 3, that's some good money saved. I mean, look, I could do a whole lot, James, with $25 worth of iRacing credits. And you know what? If I had $50 to go spend an MPI, you could bet that I would be there in the store talking to Max, trying to figure something out.
Oh, you would go into his store in Mooresville and end up with a wheel. I know you. 110%, right? And then, I don't know, what would you use the iRacing credits on? Hosteds, maybe?
Probably some hosted races. Probably going to have it on hosted races, but we got Matt Kemp in here. Matt, good to see you, buddy. This is Ryan Vargas here in the booth. It's exciting to see you out there dicing it up, coming home P3. You had control of that race for a lot of it. What else did you need there to get it done?
I needed to not make a very silly move on the back straightaway, and should have covered the top, but I think if we'd have done that, we'd have had a lot better chance than I gave myself. Had a little bit of neck go down the back, upset me, and killed my entry into 3. But I just shouldn't have given up the top and put myself in that spot. But man, that was a blast. I hope it was fun to watch on the broadcast. But man, that was so much fun.
Absolutely. You had me jumping out of my chair. Matt, you drive these cars in real life. So do I. We kind of have that in common here. But what do you rate these the iRacing version of the ARCA car? How does it feel? I mean, I'd have to sit here and say that it's pretty dang good.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's my favorite car in the service personally. The draft is pretty strong, as you see in these races. But man, I love that. I think that's so much fun, and I rated a 11 out of 10 because I love it.
Well, awesome, Matt. Thank you again for taking the time to talk to us here tonight. Thank you for hanging out and racing in this race, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Good to talk to you.
A big congratulations to Matt Kemp, who comes away with the third place prize pack, and we turn our attention now to the man of the moment, Demos himself. Daniel Mosteller now joins us. Demos, I think about, in particular, the second half of this race when I think of your run, just the concerted effort to run about a groove above Kemp just to try and claw him back. What was your strategy coming out of the yellow in the middle of this race, and how ultimately did you reel Matt Kemp back in?
Yeah, I think I was just trying to be conservative, and kind of waiting for that moment. I knew if I went too early, I was gonna get freight trained from behind, so I was waiting for us to build a gap. So I was helping him for the first part of that second run. And then I got an opportunity with about 3 or 4 to go, and then I took it, and I was surprised I cleared him, and that was great. But the problem was is that that was the first time I was in clean air all race, and I did not hit a single corner, and I just about gave it right back there. I think patience is the real thing, especially with these cars. You got to be really patient with your moves. It's like a super speedway. Patience is key. I always live by that when I'm doing races here.
How tough was it to hold that outside and make it work in the final 2 laps, knowing that you were going to get some sort of shot? You knew that Kemp was going to make some sort of move on you. How were you able to maintain the confidence in staying up at the top line and sort of give yourself the sense that that was the place to be?
Yeah, I knew that if he was gonna make the bottom work, it was gonna be a slide job. So I was comfortable running the top. I knew he wasn't gonna run me up the track, and I was okay with him getting to my inside. And I was ready for his move internal, and I knew somebody did it in the heat race in the second one, and so I kind of knew that was coming, and then it did, and I was able to kind of get that switch back on him on the back straightaway, and in 3 and 4 on the last lap, I knew we were 3 wide, and I was top of 3. And I knew everyone was going to wash up because we're trying to get everything. And I went all the way up against the wall. I got up against the wall. We barely had enough room. It was really close. But I had a lot of trust in my competitors. I wasn't really nervous at all.
So, Demos, you are going away with a trophy and $200 and a gift card from Max Pappas Innovations. You're getting $100 from iRacing. What are you going to do with all your prizes?
No, I don't know. I'll definitely display that trophy. I'll tell you that right now. I'm very proud of that. I don't know. I think I'll just let it sit for a little bit. An opportunity will arise for that stuff to be spent. We'll just give it some time.
Have to get a picture of your rig with that trophy once it arrives, and then send a picture into iRacing to get it on a Coke Series Countdown degree potentially, yeah?
Yeah, sounds good.
Daniel Mostella, congratulations on winning the MPI Challenge. Enjoy your prizes, and thanks for chatting to us.
Thank you very much.
To Ryan Vargas with Justin Yee.
Absolutely. Good to talk to the ARCA farmer himself. Justin, you were in the middle of the rack the whole night, really dicing it up. What more did you need to really get up to the front?
The 2 big restarts having to start in the bottom lane was rough because once the freight train got going, I always found myself like -3 on a restart. And it was just like, that's tough to come back from. I also, no skill noob moment, knocked down the wall in the race, and that made the car a little bit tight for the rest of the run, but it wasn't too bad, especially with the draft. And so I just spent the rest of the race kind of dicing it up, having fun. I was proud of, I think I pulled like 4 sliders that race successfully without wrecking anyone.
Oh yeah, you did. We saw them.
That was
it was
kind
cool.
of the most fun part.
No, absolutely. It was fun to watch you race, and I hit on the nickname earlier, right? ARCA Farmer, right? What draws you to the ARCA Menard Series cars here on iRacing? Because obviously you seem to really enjoy them.
So that was mainly in reference to the old ARCA car, which drives a lot differently to this one. I'm not quite as natural with this car as the old ARCA car was. Old ARCA car, you could force a lot of rotation with the throttle. Here, you basically have to coast until the nose points and then just go. So it's very opposite of what I love in a car. But that being said, I feel like it's made me a more well-rounded driver, kind of getting up and understanding this car. So that's what I enjoy about it. It makes me understand kind of the big picture more.
Absolutely, and you could see it in the driving, coming back, falling back, going back to the front. Justin, thank you again for taking the time to chat with us tonight. Thank you for participating in the MPI Challenge, and hope to see you more here on the iRacing service.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Justin Yee had a lot of fun, I think, in this MPI Challenge, as did a lot of us, Ryan Vargas. So how about that? If you needed a good little advertisement for why you should go run ARCA in Sim and why it's not just about the trucks or the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series cars or the Cup Series cars, I don't know if it gets much better than this, because that was entertaining all the way through every single one of our races.
It was entertaining, and what the best part was is you saw the comers and goers, and you never knew who was going to be the one to win this race. You saw Jaden Hopp and Tucker Minter dice it up, and then at the end, it came down to some absolute haymakers from Matt Kemp and Demos tossing it in on each other in a 3-wide move that saw Demos get the win.
Demos ends up with the win. I know a lot of people in the community are going to be excited for him. He's a popular driver amongst the oval side of iRacing, as were a lot of these drivers too, as well, I think. So a lot of fun was had, and drivers are going away with MPI gift cards and credits. Ryan, final thoughts before we take on off.
Man, I just had a blast on here tonight, James. Thank you for having me on. Max, thank you for putting on this incredible race. It's so incredible to see MPI's commitment to sim racing, and I look forward to seeing what they do.
A big thank you to Max Pappas and Max Pappas Innovations for their support of tonight's event. A big thank you to Cisco Scamuza and our production team at iRacing for making everything happen behind the scenes. For Ryan Vargas, I am James Pike. Congratulations to Daniel Mosteller, AJ Hyder, and Matt Kemp, our prize winners. To Mosteller for winning the MPI Challenge, and thank you for watching our broadcast of the MPI Challenge on iRacing. We are back 1 week from Tuesday night with more action in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing qualifying series. You'll see that next on enascar.com/live on Tuesday. Until then, we say so long from Charlotte.